Hey, I'm Dewain. This is the Bitcoin Missionaries Meetup at Baoshi Satoshi Food Hall. We've got our special guest here, an author, Berry Lamy, is going to talk about his book. And we've got a few special interviewers that are going to be asking some questions. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Prem Barbosa. I am a local here in South Florida, and I've been into Bitcoin a long time. And I met Barry about a year ago at this very meetup.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, I'm Naomi and part of BTC Aloha, and also known as the Artistry of Medicine. And I am passing through Miami again. And I'm excited to discuss this book, Cashflow U, A Father's Journey to Financial Freedom. We've got the author right here.
All right, take it away, Barry.
All right, let's go. All right, well,
Tell
what do you want to know?
Tell us a little bit about what inspired this.
Interesting. Let's start. There is a Bitcoin component to this. So several years ago, I was orange pilled by my neighbor, who was completely big time Bitcoiner. I had no idea what Bitcoin was. To be quite honest with you, until after COVID. So he started to explain to me how how Bitcoin works. And I was completely like, wow, I need this. But unfortunately, I couldn't get him to come to these types of meetings because this guy owns probably a couple hundred Bitcoins at minimum. So he does not want to show up, and he's afraid that, hey, you know what? He likes he likes his fingers. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be in situations where people knows how much money he has, basically. So ultimately,
you're allowed to come to these meetups and not talk about how much money you
I
have.
understand, but for some reason, that was his first.
He can't help it.
That's what's clear. So I said, no problem. I'll go and get more information, and But anyways, we have conversations all the time. So I would call myself you know what? I'm a Bitcoin only guy, right? I know there's a terminology for it, but I'm a maxi. Okay. So I became a maxi. Basically telling myself, you know what? I'm never selling my Bitcoin. Ever. So the problem was I started to accumulate, which is great. But then
You have bills to pay.
I had bills to pay, exactly. And so and I'm in real estate, and 2025, beginning of mid 2024, but 2025 was the year things really took a turn where I had no income coming. And I have a child that's attending University of Miami Law School. You could imagine the cost. Yeah, so I have personal bills. I have the bills at the office, and I have no income, but I have Bitcoin, and I'm not selling it. And I started to go down that rabbit hole and started watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I ran into this guy named Michael Saylor, and he's talking about Bitcoin a lot. And everything that he says makes sense to me. Never sell your Bitcoin. So I'm right. But where's the income coming from? So ultimately, I started to listen to not just Michael Saylor, and I started to listen to a few more folks talk about derivatives trading using Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy. So things started to make sense to me now. Oh, I could actually own Bitcoin, don't sell the Bitcoin, buy Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, sell options, make income. This works. So that was the beginning of that process to where things started to make sense to me. And that's where the income strategy started to come together. And then ultimately, I had to share it because it was working for me.
So does this book explain how to set up that system so you can just
Absolutely.
have infinite cash flow?
Ultimately, yeah, that's the entire book. Part of it tells you about my life story, where I came from, how I have the mindset that I have, because big part of my mindset is no one's coming to save you. So while I was going through this process, I knew no one's coming to save me because that's how I grew up. And ultimately, I got to figure this out because what's the alternative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, what started to work slowly with paying off maybe a AT&T bill, ultimately, water bill, then it became, wait a minute, it started to cover a lot more expenses. And the more I understood it, obviously the more, I wouldn't say risk that I took, but I definitely put more funds into it.
Sure.
Yeah. And so ultimately,
That's how we all get sucked in when the number
Yeah.
starts to go up.
numbers went up. So numbers went up from maybe a couple $100 a week to what became a couple $1,000 a week. So then I said, well, there's a system here, and it's this is a lot more. And what the beauty of this too is the amount of time, and this is where Bitcoin really is part of it too. Is I started to think about all the time that I was spending trying to figure out how to make money, and of course with Bitcoin, it tells you, hey, you know what? You don't have to work as hard because you know what? Bitcoin saves whatever money you made today, that money will be that 10, 15 years ago, as opposed to continue working and put it into your savings account and 2 years, 3 years later, 50,000 is no longer worth 50,000. It's worth less. So
Oh, right, yeah.
So not to compress a 200-page book, but so are you saying that the gist of the strategy is that you are simultaneously purchasing Bitcoin and you have like some option strategy that you're engaging with specifically with strategy? Or is it there are other companies that you're also doing that same process with?
yeah, that's a good question. It started with MicroStrategy, but it didn't end with MicroStrategy. Matter of fact, with every single person that's going to do this program are going to have different companies. The idea is you have to deal with companies at your company. Not everyone is, as much as we're Bitcoiners, not everyone is comfortable with Bitcoin. So MicroStrategy to them may be too much of a risk. But that was the start. But then I also use Tesla. I use, most of the Mag 7 companies and smaller ones as well.
So this is a methodology more so than like a prescription for specific companies, right?
Correct.
So like you say, you apply the methodology to the companies that you're comfortable with, because I guess you're gonna have to have a little bit of a sense of timing, probably.
Yeah.
With any kind of investment strategy, you usually have to have a sense of like a horizon of when you're gonna get out, whether it's for good reasons or bad reasons, right? Like, so then I guess all I'm asking then is, would you talk a little bit more then about maybe how someone would use your strategy, but like how would they choose the companies, I guess, maybe that they're gonna pick, to start using the strategy with?
Okay, so the strategy itself, and I only use two strategies. So I use public calls. Again, that's just nothing but saying, hey, you know what? I own these companies, right? And I'm going to sell some options. So you're the market maker. You're not buying options, you're selling options. So every time you sell an option, you're selling an option that you already own the underlying asset. Like you own MicroStrategy. You have to own at least 100 shares, right? So you own 100 shares of MicroStrategy. So you can sell an option. Someone's willing to pay you a premium to purchase MicroStrategy from you at a higher price in the future, and they're paying you today for it. I mean, that's literally what a covered call is.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't you do that?
And what's the other one?
The other one is a cash secured put. So assuming you don't own MicroStrategy, but you have enough money to buy 100 shares of MicroStrategy. Well, guess what? You could say, you know what? MicroStrategy is selling at $100 today, but I'm comfortable buying it at 90. Someone's willing to pay you for that option, right? To sell that option, say, hey, I'm going to buy it at 90 if it reaches 90, but here's $500 today. Why wouldn't you do that? You want to own MicroStrategy. So what happens if MicroStrategy doesn't come to $90? You don't own MicroStrategy, but you still made $500, and you do it again. So you use those two strategies you repeat those two strategies, and it doesn't have to be MicroStrategy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Microsoft. It really doesn't matter. The company that you're comfortable with, that's what you use it with. And it's just that simple. And for something like that to be that simple, it really makes no sense why I wouldn't share it with anyone else. Because if I can do it, why could anyone else do it, right?
So this is for really anybody.
Anybody
You don't
with.
have to have any like financial knowledge or.
I mean, you have to have
You have
some
to be able
sort
to
of
do some math.
common sense knowledge. Common sense knowledge, maybe, but ultimately it really becomes of, if you have enough cash because you can't do this strategy without owning 100 shares of any particular stock. Not every stock is MicroStrategy that's selling at $120 a share. You could buy a stock that's trading at maybe $10 a share. So then that's $1,000 instead of, having $10,000. So it really depends, but obviously the income that you're going to produce is going to be depending on, obviously, the value of the company that you own.
So you can start small and
You
then
can start small.
and kind of build.
Yes.
And then once you get more confident, you can go use like higher.
Start where you can afford, and as you can
Yeah.
afford more, right?
Absolutely. And with the program, I normally recommend starting with $5,000. I mean, which is a relatively small amount for this type of program. Because MicroStrategy is $100 a share, for example, that's 10 grand. So, and that's just one company. And with 5K, you could probably, and I recommend multiple companies instead of just one company, right? Because if you're putting all your, eggs in one basket, then it is still a stock market. There's still risk involved.
When you say the cash covered put, that means you have to lock up your 100 grand in some sort of escrow account or something.
Yes, in a cash secured put, yes, you do have to lock that up because it's basically part of the name itself. You're securing with the cash that, hey, I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of this stock, which is MicroStrategy at $100 a share, right? It's trading at 110, but you're telling the system. In this case, the system is Schwab, Fidelity, whoever you use to purchase your stock. It really doesn't matter because they all work the exact same way. So someone's paying you this premium up front with the promise that you're going to buy the stock if it reaches your strike price. So that money is set aside with Schwab or whoever. And again, the beauty of this is this could be a weekly or monthly, or you could do this 6 months in advance. It could be a year, But because of this is a cash flow program, the idea is to have income coming in on a regular basis. So I personally prefer weekly and monthly premium.
I'm curious, before you ran into Michael Saylor and learned about what he was doing, were you already doing like your own investing?
Yes, that is true. And prior to me even going into real estate or any other stuff that I've done, I used to always trade stocks. But trading stocks with me was saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna buy Facebook, and it goes to $20, and I'm selling it at 25. I'm happy, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And then of course Facebook goes to $600 a share. I'm not really an investor. I'm a trader, and I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just buying and selling, and then what typically happens? Someone tells me about a stock, and I go and buy it, and it goes the other way.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I blow up my whole account.
Like you didn't buy it when they bought it. You bought it when they told you.
Yeah, so that was not the right way to do it. But I've always been doing some sort of investing, whether it's good investment or bad investment. But I've always been in the stock market.
And you don't feel like it's worth it to take the money that you're using to cover the put and just buy Bitcoin with it instead?
Oh, that's a good question because I'm doing that too. But
You've got enough for both.
Well, I mean, the idea is, hey, you know what? Depends on your lifestyle and what you need. Because
you tell me if I understood you correctly. He's using the cash flow he's generating from this system to pay his bills.
Correct.
he's not using his income to pay his bills, or like, so it's like he's buying Bitcoin, but he's not selling Bitcoin to pay his bills. He's using this other strategy. That's what he's doing.
Yes, I have basically imagine having two accounts. I have my Bitcoin account, which which I'm not selling,
Right.
which I still haven't sold.
Now, is that also tax preferential, like what you're doing, like the way you pay your bills, or is it still like you the same way? Like when you eventually have to like pay and your cell phone bill, like is that a taxable like a taxable, what do they call it?
Event.
Oh yeah, event.
I mean, it is a taxable event in the terms of you're still owning a stock, you're still selling a stock. So you're going to create a taxable event. Now, it's not always a positive. It could also be the negative. So you could lose money on a stock as well. But the idea is you're going to make money, at least make the income, whether the stock goes up or it goes down. That doesn't matter.
And then, so like, and then is that income or is that like capital gain?
Capital gains is only if you're selling the actual stock, right? And so when you're actually making the income from, let's say you'll probably have to speak to the tax guy. I'm not trying to give you tax
Not financial advice.
No financial advice here. But the idea is income is income. Whether you're getting an income from a 1099 or you're getting a W-2, you're going to pay taxes anyway. So the idea for me was make some income. And that's really the goal of this. Go make as much income as possible while owning stocks that you're going to own anyway. So the example that I like to use is having a real estate property that you own as an investment property, and you're getting income from it, from the rentals, right? But you own the property. So you own the shares. So why not collect rent from it? It doesn't matter if the property loses value or increases value, you're still collecting rent. That is the idea. And having the 10 years of experience in real estate, stock market, and all the other stuff that I've been doing, it really just made a lot of sense. Like, why not? And it makes so much sense to collect income from things that I already own.
And all the secrets are laid out in the book, huh?
Every single one.
You want to show the book to the camera real quick?
Absolutely. This is it right here.
How do they get it?
You can get this on Amazon, and that's the only platform that it currently purchases on. You can get it on exclusive ebook or the actual paperback.
Or any events that you're going to be doing.
Events, absolutely.
Any personal
Appearances.
yeah.
Yeah. When are you planning on moving to Southeast Asia? You got a timeline?
Timeline. You know what? No timeline.
I just want to know how many more Bitcoin missionary meetings you'll be at.
You know what? I'll be here. The goal is to work this program while I'm in Southeast Asia as well.
Right,
So doesn't matter where you are.
It really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's and the beauty of this too, the time that it takes to make this income. I mean, maybe maximum 15 minutes a week.
Wow.
Like, that's great. Those are good hours.
I mean, how long does it take you to learn? Like,
as long as this book.
Exactly. As long as that's right. And I actually do have a 6-week program where I do private one-on-ones, coaching if necessary, with this as well. But the idea, everything is in this book. If you can follow and read the simple instructions, I mean, it's all doable.
All right. Come to the Bitcoin Missionaries Meetup. Get a copy of the book.
All right, man. Why don't you give us your words of wisdom, Naomi, Dewain, Prem.
What words of wisdom? What do you have?
Like, what's the theme?
Is
it the book, like,
get Bitcoin
themed on the discussion?
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever you want.
I mean, to me, like, I love cliches, and I would say this is a great example of working smarter, not harder. And, like, Barry's obviously, like, set a goal for himself for, like, how the life he wants to live and the life he wants to be able to provide for his family. And so this is, like, I think, a great example of that.
Nice. And then Naomi, we'll end with Dewain. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick out this quote. The big money is not in the trading, but in the waiting. That was like
Right, Charlie Munger said it. It's not mine, but
Oh,
Charlie
okay.
Munger.
Okay. Well, anyway,
It's a well-selected quote.
it's a well-selected quote, and that was like my takeaway. I'm very intrigued, and I'm actually feeling like maybe I could even do this. So very inspiring. And your children were the inspiration?
My daughter, yes,
Your daughter.
yes, definitely. Yes, she's attended University of Miami, and that pressure is
That
real.
that's a
That's not her, but-
young girl for a UM law school.
That's how smart she is.
All online courses.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
Thank you.
And then last, our host.
Well, as great as money is, even the hardest, best money in the history of the world, Bitcoin, just always stay focused on things that really matter: family, love, joy, and community. That's what we had here at the Bitcoin Missionaries, is community.
Great.
All right.
And food.
Yeah.